Good afternoon. Welcome to OptionsTender. It is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. We're going to do a quick video here. We're doing this intraday about 1:36 p.m. Wow, a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in getting these videos intraday, consider becoming a YouTube member. I'm glad I posted the Discord for you YouTube members because we just had a load of members join us today. So welcome to the Discord. I hope we get some of these trade ideas out to you and that they work successfully for you. So we're pretty bearish here, and I'll show you why. We're not going to go through SPX and the this is also in confluence with the 1929 top. You can look at that on the big picture video that I did. So right now we came into resistance again. This is the 2008 top here. We have negative divergence on all time frames that I'm going to show. We're not going to put those up there though. We have to zoom through this, and I want to make sure that everybody gets this video fairly quickly. At least the members get the video quickly. And if this is going to come out to the public at 4 p.m. anyway, so you can trade this tomorrow. But we have FOMC tomorrow, so quite a big deal. And I think we're going to get real volatile, and also earnings from big tech as well. So right now we're at the top. We retested, rejected off of there, and we're pushing off the 8 EMA, which is natural to get a response off of that, or reaction. And so what I think we're doing is just making a lower high. Now, I'll explain to you on the lower time frames what I think about this move here, and I don't think we quite reached any real targets, so it on the downside, and so I'll show you those. So make sure you stick around. Play this video at 1.25 or 1.5 if you want to get this information a lot faster and you want to watch more videos in less time. So we have this initial move here. If you're a bull, you're looking at this being a flag, and we're pulling back for a higher low and higher prices. So we will prepare for that going into tomorrow. We'll have our hedges on, especially with the Qs, just in case those are just, super bullish or something. We're at the top, so I'm heavily short, but we must hedge and protect our portfolio. I have been burned before just thinking that there's no way that the market can move up anymore. So protect your positions. Our first point here on this next move, we're looking at about 562, 560 area. And again, I explained those in much more depth in previous videos, so check those out. Let's go to the daily. We'll bring it down to the 65, and then we'll go around the horn. Okay, so I know there's a lot of information here. You can see the bar back above the 8 EMA, trying to close the gap or within the gap. It was a nice big gap there. And these are some of the examples of previous recessions starting just on the first leg, what they looked like. So, I want to keep those up. Every time we make a new high, I'm going to put those there because we have to be aware of what the move is capable of. Wow. All right, so we had our flag pattern, broke out, made a new high, new divergence on the weekly time frame, daily, all the time frames, and now we're rejecting off of it. So we came here into the moving averages, the 20, in between the 20 and the 50, and now we're getting our bounce. So the question is, do we get a lower high and head lower, or do we make new highs? And if this is wave 1 into 2, wave 3 should be pretty tremendous. It doesn't have to be longer than wave 1, but it's not going to be a small move. Typically, it is one of the largest, if not one of the largest waves. It can't be the smallest. Elliott wave rule. Okay, so time and price on the weekly time frame. Again, I've been showing those every day. It's in the beginning to middle of February, and here on the daily time frame, we're coming into today. We had a time relationship, so maybe we have our top in today. That's a possibility. I'm going to take this off now. You have a couple layered there. Okay, and then in the beginning of February, we have another cluster. So let's see where price is when we get into those clusters. I think it's going to be down, but if price is up higher into these clusters, we'll look for a reversal once again. Right now, I think that we're getting a 1, and then a 2, and then we should see 3, 4, 5, and I'll show you those targets as well. So let's go to the 65. Quick video, guys. Zooming through. Here's our major trend line that if we break this trend line, things are going to get pretty nasty. So, and also would be a fake break from this flag. So price came down here. There's so many gaps to the upside. So the bulls had a lot of protection to the downside, came down to this gap and held. I can take that one off. So trying to close the island gap. We have an island here, gap down from the gap up, and then gapped back over this. And so price is trying to close it, not quite there yet, but I think we're forming a bear flag. We have a nice little wedge there, look going into FOMC. So I think we have a 1-2 setup headed up here. But looking on the other board, here's our support range. We didn't quite get to any of these. Okay, we held the 382, which is very shallow and very bullish. If this is going to continue to move up, then we're probably going to have a pretty hefty wave 3 to the upside, okay? Very bullish pullback. Now, yeah, you can look at this as an A, B, C further down here, and we will certainly add some call protection if and when price makes it down to this area. So I added on some puts today, and if you notice, the puts are right, the strikes are right in the zone. So just for you members that are following along here, that would be the flag here. And so this still could be an A, B, C, and see how I have marked on here. We have the pathway, the white pathway, A, B, C, and that would mean this is a larger wave 1 and a wave 2, and we're looking for wave 3 up. Now, we're getting into resistance here at the 62% retracement from this initial move that very well could be an impulse move. We can't really see anything inside of it. So if you have a 5-wave move down here, impulse, we're looking at a wave 2 pulling back here. And this is, by the way, this purple, that was an example of if we did a 5-wave move down directly to the flag. We didn't do that. So, you know, that's just showing a 5-wave impulse would be purple for this to go. Now that we had this nice large retracement, this is not what it's going to look like. So at this point, we have possibly wave 1 in, and this is going to be much larger. Okay, and possibly, and wave 2 can come all the way up to 607, still be a healthy zigzag. 1, 2, and then if time wants to take place here, this could be an A, B, and then we get a larger C up to 607, just to keep you aware. But right now we're not looking at that way. So wave 3, we measured already. Lot of stuff happening here. So we have the extension tool from the top of wave 1 to the bottom of wave 1, all the way up to the end of wave 2. If price is done here, then the wave 3 should likely be in purple. That would be our bear move. Wave 3 is likely to get to that 578 area. Okay, and then we'll get a small bounce for 4. However small it might be, don't know. And wave 5 would continue lower. And I think that would take us into the 560 zone that we were talking about, okay? So that's more of what this should look like at this point. See, as price gives us more information, we're able to start giving measurements and things like that, anticipation of the moves, so we can hold on to our trades longer if we need to. But we'll certainly, from a traditional technical analysis point, if and when price gets down to here at the 62% retracement, FOMC can bring us down here, and we can all panic and forget that this just might be an A, B, C zigzag and wave 3 to move much higher. Okay, I'm not going to let that go. I'm going to add calls here pretty heavily, because if price makes it down to this point, we're going to be extremely profitable. Okay, and we want to protect that. So we'll take plenty of profit off on the near term moves, and we will add near term calls to hedge these. Okay, that will be posted in the Discord as I do so. Now, tomorrow could get pretty wacky with FOMC at 2 p.m. So maybe all this doesn't really happen until Thursday overnight. Okay, so we just have to be completely aware of where price can get to. Now, I don't think the 50% is really going to do much at this, since we already have this move down here. We would simply make it down here. Now, you can measure this ABC out if this is the case. And by the way, if this is an ABC, it's going to be very difficult to tell, because that would be a zigzag, and that's an impulse wave down, just like if we're bearish. Okay, that's a 5. We got our wave 3 ABC for a B, and now C is going to be an impulse wave as well. Okay, so 535 for a zigzag, so it's going to be very confusing as price moves down. You can take one of those arrows out, because the A and the B is already probably in. So this is either a 2 or B. This is a 1 or A. And just like a rejection off of here, it's in a zigzag. The 62% is very typical. So everything looks the same. All right, whether you're bull or bear, I think you should be bearish going into this. And then we'll look for a very crucial zone here, likely to get to this 588.88, which is the pullback. It's the 62% retracement of this entire move. And it's very typical in a 1-2 setup that price makes it down to the 62. So at that point, it's going to be a critical point for the bulls and the bears. But if we break down from there, look out, because that's probably a wave 3 at that point then, and we'll be looking for that about 580 target. Okay, so I hope that helps. We trade, this is the probability of moves happening. Okay, and it's very probable we get this move here, but we don't know how far it's going to go. We don't know if this is just the beginning of a next move up. Okay, so this is how we trade on this channel. I know that the headlines, and I do apologize, but I'm just telling you what's in my head. I say stock market crash. I'm not worried about that. Okay, I'm worried about how we trade it. Doesn't matter if I think the world is going to end tomorrow. How are we going to trade that? Okay, so anybody that's commenting on these, they probably don't watch the video anyway. They probably just look at the thumbnails and the titles and just say, "Oh, crash," blah blah blah. But then you see in the Discord, all these great traders are trading price, not predicting. Okay, here we go. QQQ. On time and price, you see that we have these clusters in here. So tomorrow could be the high. We said it could be today, but there's a time price here tomorrow as well. And then we just kind of have this whole cluster ending the week. So this could be very volatile. You could have a high, a low, and so on. So SPX, for those who trade SPX, there's your trend line. We're looking at holding, and it just so happens that that ABC in this bull flag are likely to come in confluence right with that trend line. All right, so that's our zone here, about 59.15. Okay, so I don't think I mentioned that in SPY. But I drew out these lines. I usually don't draw trend lines on here. So you can see. Now, if we go back here, you see it, here it is. So this is where I plan price to come back to this gap area. That was that island gap here to the upside. Now we have an island gap to the downside. and this is the flag, and this is the major trend line that if we break there, then price is going further. Okay, and if we do break there, just know that I think it's a break of the trend line, and I doubt if we do get a bounce, it'll probably be meager, but this thing could just continue to grind to the downside. This major area that I have highlighted here would be our bounce zone that I think price gets to, because you'd have a fake break with a flag, you'd have a trend line breakdown. It would be pretty big hit. Okay, so just be careful. My whole point in saying that is just be careful about buying the dip all through these spots. Nothing wrong with adding call protection as you go down, just to protect your account. And again, I trade a portfolio of options. I'm not the kind of person that just has one trade here. That I do have an account for that. If I want to do a cash account, if I want to do a single trade by itself, and I'll indicate that on the Discord if I do that trade. Okay, but I manage a portfolio of options. That's what I do. Now we can go back. We went to ES. Let's go to this one, futures. Okay, so this one holding on to this parallel line so far. This does look impulsive to me. Okay, it looks like it was an expanding trade here. So the momentum, you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 would be the extension there. And then if you get your retracement tool, came back up to past the 62% retracement so far. And do we go to close the gap? Not sure. It doesn't have to. It's very common that the gap is closed quickly, but in this situation, we'll see what happens, but this could be left open for quite some time. QQQ. And if we go to new highs, I'll put those targets on later on, okay? If we go to new highs, and this is actually a wave 3 headed up there, there's going to be some targets, and I'll just let you know ahead of time that on SPY, we're looking at about 6,300 to 6,400, okay? Now, this is the Qs. So if this is a bull flag came back, that's technically a back test because you had a fake break, but it didn't stay down there, okay? So this one is relatively weaker than SPY. I do see a 5-wave move here down. So this could be easily, and this also could be an expanded flat as well. So however you want to count that. We're getting into retracements. We're clearly at the options expected move there. So that's where price is kind of settling at. And we're just a tick away from the 522. But at the same time, is this a 1-2-1-2? So you could just adjust it just a little bit, and maybe we just hit it. If this is actually, we're counting it from this high as well. So a couple different ways you can do it, once again. Now, we did not make new highs in the Qs. And we talked about that. We talked about divergence from tech. So I think tech's getting weaker, and this does not. If on SPY price goes up to that 786, then it's likely that we're going to head up to the 62 in the Qs, which is fine. We'll just add on some more puts at that point. And then going into the close tomorrow, we definitely, if all three mega tech stocks are burst into the upside, we want to make sure that we have those tech protective calls. Okay. SMH. Now we had a nice bounce here in NVIDIA. SMH is still, the damage is done here. I don't know how far this will go up to retrace, but it really doesn't have to move very much at all. As a matter of fact, this could just be a 1-2 and then a wave 3 here, to where you could have gotten a 4 there, but this looks like a little bear flag. Okay, so we got out of our positions. This is back testing. If this is the trend line, it's back testing, and this could be a wave 5 that heads lower there, and wave 5s can still be extensions too. So big gap. Okay, IWM is still having problems with this downtrend zone, and I think that's going to continue to be the case. Now, we could go with a 1-2-1-2 in here, and this is done. Or if it's a leading little diagonal there, because we made a new low today into the gap, then this could have a little bit of a retracement. All right, this may be an ABC, but in either way, we're not going to see new highs. Okay, we'd probably backtest this downtrend line. Now we start getting above there, then we have something else happening. This is probably an ABC correction, and then we should see the next price level at about 233 if we break these downtrend lines. But the way things are going, this appears to be weak, and this is going to start heading lower here very soon. We did have bearish divergence here as well. We are short DIA. We're hardly ever short the diamonds, but we decided to short the diamonds and also JP Morgan because that's a component of it, and they were just barely making new highs. So somebody asked me in the Discord, like, what's your setup here on JP Morgan? And JP Morgan did something like this. JPM had a correction, and I had an alert for a new high, and it made a new high while the Dow reached the top of this wedge. So that was the setup for me to short JP Morgan Chase. Okay, and I think that's going to be a fantastic short. Really lucky to catch a setup like this at the top. But this is, you know, it's going to have an initial move, so you got to take profit as you go. Because otherwise you could get your first move here, and if you don't take profit, it could have a nice deep wave 2 retracement, and you don't want to give all that back. So the initial move, you just have to be careful. We don't know how big that initial move will be. Now this week, I think we did it out to next week, but this week we already hit the options expected move on DIA, for example, and it's not typical for the expected move to hit on both sides. Now with the volatility from catalysts, it can happen. It can get really gnarly this week to the downside. But yeah, great setup here. Just wanted to explain that. VIX. VIX has a bullish falling wedge here into the 200 moving average. That's also getting into the daily time frame moving averages as well. I think the 200 is right underneath, but this is setting up to be a nice big high or low, and I think this will be a big breakout here. I kind of drew a flag around here. I think that's majorly why this corrected. And after initial move up here, I think this is more of a bull flag, and I think this is going to really start to break out here soon. So look out for that. We put on some calls with UVXY, okay? So, but the VIX, if you play the ETFs for the VIX, they follow the futures, okay? Not the actual VIX product. So here this would be, I'll just show you this and we'll end. Nice big symmetrical move here down to the options expected move on the upper side here. That's not the actual, I don't think I adjusted these, but it just so happens that that's a good support area once resistance here all the way through. So right there, a lot of trading there and support. So I think this move is done. I think price heads higher from here in UVXY, and there's a couple other ones. We'll follow this one here, /VX. All right, VIX futures. Thanks for joining us here at OptionsTender. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.